During this module, we'll look at seasonal interest in your plant material. There are lots of different plant parts that can provide seasonal interest. Some of them more changeable than others. What you usually think of a lot of times is flower. And the flowering of the plants can happen for a short period of time in the springtime, or it can happen over a longer period of time during the summer. There are very few plants that flower in the fall. We do have a couple, but typically this is a spring and summer interest in the seasons. You also have foliage. Sometimes there are plants that have sort of a different colored foliage all during the summer, but for the most part we really think of foliage as being a seasonal interest in the fall. Some more than others. Some of the plants that we'll have in the class will have a very brilliant fall color. Others really little to none. Another plant part that is kind of changeable that provides seasonal interest is fruit. And like the other characteristics, the fruit on some plants, most of the plants we have will have fruit of some sort, but sometimes it's just an insignificant little seed capsule. You hardly notice it. Other plants have a much more showy fruit, like this one. And it kind of depends from plant to plant how long a showy fruit or an interesting fruit will stay on the plant and provide that additional seasonal interest. Other plant parts that provide some seasonal interest that are kind of less changeable are the bark, stems and branches, which basically it's the bark on the stems and branches, and also the form. These are plant characteristics that really don't change during the growing season, but you notice them more in the winter time when the foliage is gone, when there are typically no flowers or sometimes no fruit to provide the seasonal interest. So the way that we're going to use this, especially in one of your assignments for this module, is to look at providing seasonal interest in the landscape year-round. That may be one of your goals in a landscape, not always, but it's good to know when these plants are flowering and fruiting for your identification purposes, for also plant selection for seasonal interest, and being able to provide recommendations in your business. So for each one of these plant materials, you'll want to determine the time of the flowering and fruit and whether or not it significantly provides any kind of interest. Determine what kind of fall interest that you may have and when that would happen. We'll see over the fall season some plants begin coloring their foliage for the fall very early. Some wait until longer. So you have a long period of time to be able to provide fall interest. And also determine if there's any significant winter interest, like form, bark, fruit that stays on during the winter, and how long does it stay on. And by looking at all these different factors, you can see the general times that you will have different types of seasonal interest in your landscape.